Today I'm going to show you how to set up a frame to punch needle. So I have my 12-inch by 18-inch piece of fabric here and my number 6 Nerge wooden embroidery hoop. So we're going to, you're going to open your hoop just enough to get the fabric in there, but not too much, because if you leave the hoop a little bit tight when you push the fabric in, you're gonna start off with the fabric tight to begin with, which helps make it a little bit easier. So just open it enough to try and get your hoop on there. If it will just not fit, you just have to open it a little bit more, which is fine. So here I squeezed it on there just a little bit, so it is in there. But if you will notice, this is very loose. If you punch that, it will not be very tight, and it will not punch as easily. Okay, so it's in there, but it's not tight enough. So to tighten it, you're gonna go around, you're just gonna pull the fabric in the hoop, and I recommend that you start on the top and then go to the bottom and then go to the left and then go to the right. And then just that way the middles are tight and it just makes it a lot easier. So go ahead and I just pull it up through the hoop with kind of holding the hoop. And then I go to the bottom. And then I'll go to the one side. Just pull it, and then you go to the other side. And by doing that, you will see that it's pretty much tight already. You kind of did it already by just doing those 4. But there is some looseness here, so then I usually go through and I will go in between the sides, and I'll do it here and here and then here and here. And then after that's done, it should be very tight for you. So just always go from one opposite side to the other. And it works quite nicely. When I learned that trick, it sped things up quite a bit. So there you go. And now it is tight, ready for you to go. Tight in there. Now you're gonna wanna go through and trim it. It will loosen as you work, so I like to trim it and then just go ahead and hot glue the fabric to the frame, and then it won't move at all when you're working, which is a really nice thing to do. So to do that, you're gonna, there's about a 1/4 or a 1/2 an inch there. So I just start like this. And then I test it to see if there is enough fabric for me, which there is. So I'll probably keep that length all the way around. And then I just eyeball it all the way around. That's about 1/2 inch. And then you just trim it all the way around. And then I have my hot glue gun here warming up. That will be the next step. Okay, and then once that's trimmed, we're gonna hot glue it. And when I hot glue, I'm gonna put a bead of hot glue all the way around the inside here, but then I also put a little bit here on the outside, right in here, just so it kind of holds the outside hoop with the inside. I especially do it here where there's a gap, and I feel like that holds the hoop a little bit. But I do that every little bit. I don't do it all the way around because I don't feel like it's necessary. But I do the one all the way around. And it works best if you work in little spouts. So here, I'm gonna put it here to fill that, to hold those two together. And then I will put one bead like a 6-inch piece. And then I go through and I push it down with my thumb all the way around. Like that. And then I will do a little bit more, and I usually just start with my inside bead right where I stopped, just like that. You can also use a Morgan no-slip hoop. I think a lot of people use those to work. I typically just do this if it's going to end in a round frame. I just do this to start with, and then I just leave it in here. The Morgan no-slip ones, you're going to have to switch to a prettier hoop because it's just more cost efficient. The Morgan no-slip hoops are more pricey and not as pretty. They're plastic. They do work nicely. They hold the fabric very nicely. But this works just as well. And when you are done, then you are done. And that's what it looks like when you're done.